Okay, so you can see my full screen. It says 4 ways to overcome brain fog and memory cognition in menopause. Yes. All right, here we go. So my goal is to be brief, be bright, and be on point. I don't know how I'm gonna do all that, but I'm gonna try. Okay, so I just think it's so important to talk about brain fog. Can you see my new slide with the lady with the boxing gloves? Everybody, yeah, yes, you can see her. Okay, good. All right, so we're going to talk about 4 ways to overcome brain fog and cognition. And the thing is that the International World Menopause folks, they have picked October and October the 18th as for a day to talk about menopause, to make sure that people are talking about it in the workplace. I saw a statistic that said that like 60% of women who are going through menopause, which is millions and millions now, considered like quitting their job because of the menopause symptoms they were dealing with. They were, not going to work. And so sometimes I think menopause is like a 1-2 punch, but especially if your brain doesn't feel like it's working. Do you find yourself that you go upstairs and you're like, what did I come up here for? Nod your head if you've been there before. I came upstairs to do something, and then you like looking around like, what was I coming up here for? And you have to go back downstairs, and then you'll like remember. Or do you find yourself arguing with a friend and they're saying, no, girl, that Michael Jackson hit, it came out in 1975. And you're like, what hit? I know all his songs. How come I can't remember that song? And so brain fog affects us in different ways. So the definition of brain fog is a phenomenon where the name implies your cognition is a bit muddled and it can be hard to concentrate or to easily remember things, like the word or name that keeps eluding you. Research shows it's extremely common, affecting more than 60% of menopausal women, maybe more. One time I was at the Safeway and I was putting in the PIN for my credit card, and the lady said to me, how's your day? I really like your necklace. And I turned to her and I said, oh, thank you. I turned back and couldn't remember my PIN. I was getting embarrassed. I had to write a check. Who writes checks anymore? Nobody writes checks, but I had to write a check because I was so flustered. So let's just talk about a little bit about why it happens. There's really 3 types of estrogen in your body. The first one is estrone. That's the primary form of estrogen that your body makes after menopause. The one that really impacts us is estradiol. That is E2. That's the primary form of estrogen in your reproductive years. And notice here, it helps with libido, memory health, mental health. It also is a part of breast development when you go through puberty. It increases your fat stores. That's where we get our hips. It helps with ovulation, the uterine lining. It's really big that it helps with the maintenance of bone mineral density. It helps you build muscle. It helps you build strong bones. But this is the thing, when estrogen E2 starts to decline during perimenopause, that also can affect our memory, our mental health. And so I really just want to kind of lay the foundation really quick. What is perimenopause? We always need to talk about it because it's really the 4 to 10 years before menopause. And menopause is really the end of 1 year that you have not had your period. So they kind of call that year you're in menopause, but everything's fluctuating before that. That's kind of perimenopause. Then you kind of go into the 1 year where you're still having fluctuations. You might not have an actual period, but your hormones are still bouncing up and down. So these spikes in your progesterone and your estrogen cause you to have like hot flashes. They can cause you to feel bouts of depression, anxiety, and they can impact us in so many different ways. I saw a statistic that there's like 36 different ways. Then I followed this other lady. She said 100. And I was like, I don't know. I wasn't really getting with the 100. But at the end of menopause, you'll see your FSH hormone, which is the one. FSH is responsible for stimulating the egg growth in your ovaries. The LH is the one that stimulates, it triggers ovulation. So these levels rise, which is interesting, and your estrogen level goes down, and that's how they can really tell if you're in perimenopause or you're postmenopausal by looking at these levels. The third estrogen level, which I didn't mention, was E3, and that estrogen is active when you are pregnant. Okay, so in the chat, have you ever encountered brain fog or lack of focus in your life? Type it in the chat. Have you ever? Have you experienced it yourself? I see yes, 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 where you just felt like you're not thinking clearly. I see, yep. I see you guys in the chat. Thank you. Yes. Yes. And so it's real. And let's just talk about kind of the science behind it. Leslie Mosconi, I checked her out. She was on a podcast and she's director of the Women's Brain Initiative. And I just wanted to give you, there's actual data. It's just not something that women make up. They did brain scans on 161 women, ages 40 to 65. Some of them were premenopause, perimenopause, and postmenopause, compared them to men of the same ages that were 125 of them. So they did all these brain scans. Then they followed up 2 years later with some of the women that were postmenopausal and the male participants 2 years later. And so what they found was this. There was a dip in gray matter and white matter, and glucose metabolism, how your body uses sugar primarily to think when you're younger. When you get older, now you don't have estrogen helping you with your insulin levels as much as you had before. And so a lot of times you kind of feel that you're not as sharp, you're not thinking very clearly. What I want you to get out of this slide, 40% of the brain was gray matter, 60% white matter, and here at the bottom, conducts, processes, and sends information to various parts of the body. And then the other side, interprets sensory information from various parts of the body. Now, the good news is that most people return back to their pre-diva queen, I got this, don't mess with me, shoot, because, I might be, like older, but I still got it going on. And so most women bounce back. They've had test scores and to show that women usually all get that cognitive brain power back. There's like a small amount of women who don't, like 20%, that still feel like they're impacted, but majority of the women don't have the issue anymore. So what can you do about it? What can you do to make sure that you are fighting the good fight, that you are doing the right thing for your brain during this time? So I have 4 ways, and then I might have a little extra one in here. So ain't she cute? That girl's so cute. She's so cute. Okay, so what can you do? Manage stress. Oh my gosh, manage stress. Stress is the biggest thing that makes you feel that you're not coping with life. And so I like this diagram here. When your body feels stressed, of course, your cortisol levels rise, but it's an emotional cue. It hijacks the brain into a stress response. And stress is also generated when life demands exceeds our capacity to cope. So what I want to show here is that, so say this time, you feel like you got plenty of time to handle things, and then you have something that comes up and someone says, or you have a kid and they say, Mom, you got to take me to practice. I got to be there at 2. And you're like, no, you said that you had to be there at 3 or 4. And then they have to be there earlier. So now you don't feel like you have time or the capacity to cope with the demand. So you're driving your kid, or you're driving to work, or you found out the meeting was an hour earlier than what you thought, and your time is limited, and so your stress goes up. So just remember, when the demand on you feels greater than the capacity, and you don't have as much bandwidth to cope with it, that's when you feel stressed. And the best thing to do, one of the best things to do, is to say no to what you can say no to, because the stress is just really not worth it. So when you're going through menopause, it's a great time to reevaluate all the stuff I got going, all the places I got to be, all the commitments I have. It's a great time to reevaluate those in your life so that you are giving yourself the capacity to cope with life, the things that you have going on. So there's a lot on this chart. Stick with me. How you guys doing? You guys doing okay? Thumbs up. You guys okay? All right. So eat for your brain. Oh my goodness. Eat for your brain. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? If you want your brain to be at its best capacity, operating the best, then what you feed your body makes so much sense. The thing that I really want to point out is that your brain aging is more diet than density. It's more what you eat that's going to affect your brain aging than anything. So your brain is 80% water. So it makes sense if you're dehydrated, even in the smallest bit, your brain is not going to have the capacity that it normally has. So it's important that you're drinking your water. How much water do you need? Most people say that you need half your body weight in ounces. And so you might be thinking, I'll be up peeing all night, but your body will get used to it. So if you're 150 pounds, half of that is 75 ounces is really what you need. So your body can really function well. Then the other thing is DHA. If I say what this word is, I will crucify it, but it's an acid that's found in your omega-3s, and you have ELA and ALA. Those are all in your omega-3s. If you're eating a really good amount of omega-3s, there's a 70% reduction in the risk of dementia, which is pretty powerful. So a handful of almonds a day, extra virgin olive oil, eating salmon 2 or 3 times a week. I read her blog and she said that would really cover it. Whitefish, caviar. And then in her studies, people who are on the Mediterranean diet, they have better brain scans. So they're eating healthier foods and eating their fruits and vegetables. So they tend to have better brain scans. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, she recommends your almonds and flax seeds to grind them to release the nutrients better. Red wine is great for the brain in moderation, paired with a fatty food. Avoid processed foods, combination of too much saturated foods and cholesterol, like your buttery spreads. You guys know all this. So all the buttery whipped cream, fake cheese, baked goods, all those things aren't profitable for your brain. So eating a clean diet will really help you minimize the confusion and any kind of fatigue, dizziness, memory lapses, all those things. Eating for your brain will make a difference. Okay, so I could spend forever on this chart, but I'm not going to, because prioritizing sleep just makes sense. If a diva ain't getting her rest, honey, you ain't getting your rest, you snapping at folks, cussing people out, driving to work and be cussing them out and be like, praise the Lord, I'm gonna put Kurt Franklin on, but you don't cussed out 4 people because you staying up late watching Lizzo and the Heavy Girls thing that she binge watching stuff, and then the next day you have no capacity because you are tired. So many ways that you can prioritize sleep. A mattress, a new mattress every seven years is a recommendation. A good pillow, good mattress, patches for cover your eyes for the light. This is a weighted blanket right here. Some people do well with those. CPAP. Let me just say real quick, tart cherry juice at night, a half a cup, 4 ounces or so, helps with melatonin production in your body. So that's a great way. Melatonin itself, be careful. I was taking too much melatonin. Most people take too much. You really want to start with the kitty size, the 1 gram. If you go to Costco, they have the 5 grams and it's usually too much for people. Start with the kitty size and then maybe take 2 or 3, see how that goes for you. But prioritizing sleep, having a really good sleep hygiene, a good method for how you go to sleep every night, just like you were a kid. You wash your face, brush your teeth, put your PJs on, you read a book, you went to bed. So making sure you have a good rhythm there. I love this chart. Exercise and resistance training. What? So 80% of your brain gray matter is modifiable by physical activity. That's by neurophysiologist Luisa Nicola, which I thought was amazing. You can change your brain structure by exercising and lifting weights. Resistance training, it stimulates the release of irisin, which is a hormone that crosses the brain barrier and improves the structural health of the brain. The recommendation is 3 times a week. So it just shows that even research shows that regardless if you take hormone replacement therapy or not, women who are active, they test better than their less fit counterparts when it comes to brain and cognition because they are exercising. And number 5, train your brain, which makes sense, right? Reading puzzles, doing crossword puzzles, putting steps in place that your brain can easily remember, and those kind of things will help with your brain. Okay, so time to share real quick in the chat. What area could you improve on? Type it in the chat. I want to see what you say. What area can you improve on for your wellness? Sleep. Yeah. Keisha said sleep. Who else? Sleep. What area can you improve on in your life? If you're saying any area of this, I need to do better. I see 2 people. Dale said sleep. Anybody else? Sleep, exercise. Lorraine, exercise and eating, managing stress. Oh, Pam, I hear you, Pam. New job, eating. Frizette said, hi, Frizette. Colleen said stress. Yes, managing stress. Those things make a huge difference in your life. Thank you guys for that. All right, so how you age is 25 genetic, 75% environmental. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? It's 75%. How you take care of yourself, how you get your rest, how you eat well, your nutrition, eating for your brain, getting fruits and vegetables in there so you're eating a well-balanced diet, all that stuff, how you age, because menopause is just a part of your whole beautiful life. And when you go through menopause, I like this saying I saw that it said me.no.pause, because no pause. If you are really aware of what's happening in your body, getting the support that you need, talking to your doctor, going to see your doctor for any symptoms that you are having. If any symptoms impact your quality of life, do not wait to talk to your doctor. Make sure your doctor knows about menopause and can treat menopause. You can go to the North American Menopause Society, NAMS.org, and you can find a menopause specialist in your area. So this is so important. How you age is genetic and environmental. I've had the blessing to work with so many beautiful women across the planet, Australia, here in Seattle, Minnesota, Texas, to encourage women in their wellness. And all of them have been successful in feeling better, eating better, getting in better shape. This is just real quick, a couple clients that I've worked with and how they've had success working with me. So if this is, I'm just letting you know that I am available to support you in your wellness. I think the thing that's been changing for me is that you have to have an awareness of things that are holding you back. You have to go when you're frustrated with your lifestyle, your weight, what is holding you back? Is there self-sabotage? Is there emotional eating? Because you can do all the other things above it, but if you aren't taking care of things at the bottom of the pyramid, you'll struggle. And so my program, we go through awareness, what's going on, what's keeping you back, customizing an exercise plan for you and a wellness plan for eating and exercising. I have a fitness app that I do that through. Then we establish the healthy habits. You're not going to be able to establish these habits if there's things at the bottom and this awareness thing that you really haven't dealt with. Then we get into our maintenance. And then for every queen, I really want her to stay fit and to conquer what is giving her struggles. So if that is you, if you feel like you could use some help in that area, I would love to chat with you about your wellness. You can screenshot this, but just set up your time. Let's chat about how I can support you. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I want to stop the recording, and I have a door prize to give away, and I want to hear from you guys. So let me stop recording,